today is one of those really difficult conversations because we're talking about the characteristics of the unenlightened. What is that? We're about to unpack that for you. But as we begin today, I want to ask you to do one thing. Please don't judge. Please listen with an open mind. And then let these thoughts roll through your head over the next few days and few weeks as you unpack them and what that means for you in your personal life. Because you might discover after today's conversation that you might start looking at things in a slightly different way. So, with that, please help me welcome Omuugn.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
I've noticed in my own marriage, which is just a fraction of the time you've been married, we've been married 21 years. But one of the things that I've noticed as we have grown apart, because our lives have taken different twists and turns, that one of the things that keeps us together is to remove us both from our elements and to go out and walk and talk. And by out walking in the neighborhood, we're walking and talking. And that's something that we have in common together, but it removes us both from our comfort zones and the world that we're both so enmeshed in. During the day, there's an endorphin and there's a release of conversation and communication. And we take turns like, hey, when we get around this corner, it's your turn to talk. It's not like us sitting at a counselor's office, but us able to work through some of those issues where in our own little environmental spaces, I'm glued to the internet with my clients and he's glued to the internet and his stuff with his clients. By coming together, it removes us from whatever we would have as interruptions, and it helps us then stay on task.
That's potentially a very good thing. Just spending time together in a new environment, a new situation is therapeutic for probably both of you. The danger in that is that it can be superficial and it might not be a time where you really delve into reality and belief systems and who you are. You need to take time to do the things that really pertain to enlightenment if you want to grow closer together. Even though it's therapeutic to spend time together, and that's a good thing, it can be a better thing if you make those conversations really meaningful.
One of the things that we did in our relationship, and I think this is something that I learned at home, we have family meetings once a week, and we've done this since the day we got married. Every Tuesday, we have a short meeting, and we established before we got married that on our weekly meeting that you get to bring up something that you would like the other person to work on. You only get one. So if I have three things that are bothering me this week, I better pick the most important one because I only get to bring up one this week. It keeps us both from nagging during the week, knowing that I will have a time to express that and that with all sincerity and empathy and kindness and compassion, the other person's going to take that in the spirit in which it was intended. We're going to try to work on that and that doesn't let stuff build up week after week. So,
Yeah, that's really profound that you have a process. So many people that I'm aware of will process within themselves. Their partner will do something they don't really like, but they keep that in within themselves. Or they will, like you say, nag and make it an uncomfortable situation. You have to be careful on how you deal with things like that, but everyone needs a process that works for them. Growing up, as you remember, we had processes for everything. If you were problematic the whole day long, they'd turn your smiley over to a frowny face, and then you had to meet with dad at the end of the day. There was a karmic reaction to your behaviors for that day.
as a child of Omuugn, I remember I got my smiley turned over and it became a frown and I was disobedient. He said, Angela, you're a very bright little girl. And I'm sure you have a very good reason for your behavior today. And I'm curious, would you share with me what it was? Oh my goodness, talk about the psychology of wow. I sat there trying to stumble through what was my very good reason. When I got done, whatever it was I said, he said, what do you think is a fair punishment? And he let me decide. It was the most psychologically enriching punishment I've probably ever had because it didn't shame me in any way. It gave me a chance to express my childish thinking process. We take what we learn and we repeat that. As a boss and as a leader, I have an opportunity frequently to write people up in the business. And I always go back to that moment where I try to in an enlightened sort of way, give them their dignity and their respect, and let them explain to me their viewpoint so that I'm not punishing and shaming them, but that I'm helping them look at the situation from a different set of eyes.
I'm pleased that you remember all of the positive aspects. I haven't really gotten into the characteristics of the unenlightened. I'd like to run through those just really quickly. The first one is that most people are not aware that they're not enlightened. Most people, because of their belief system, think that they're enlightened people. Because of individual circumstances, people don't take the time to really realize that they're not enlightened. So a lot of times we're unenlightened just because we're unaware. Some of the characteristics are resistance to change. Change is taking place all of the time. And you can actually work with change to your benefit in many instances. If you're resistant to move forward to things that are happening in your life, it's going to be very difficult for you to become enlightened. A lot of people are fearful of the unknown, and they're attached to material possessions or to status, to barriers to spiritual growth. If you're attached to material things and you have a different standard, a lot of the areas of enlightenment will never have an interest for you because it's going to cause you to change your value system. Some people have closed minds. They just don't want to hear anything new or anything different. Without looking at new ideas and looking at different perspectives, they just have closed their mind to anything that would change what they already believe. If your mind is closed, you really have very little hope. A lot of people choose to remain isolated, disconnected from people that would support them and encourage them. If you're surrounded by people who inspire you, who encourage you, and who pat you on the back, that brings you out of your isolation shell, and you learn to encourage other people and inspire other people, and they can see your example. And you're looking for good examples, and you're looking for mentors. A lot of people also have emotional blocks. They've had traumas in their childhood, or there are things that have impeded their emotional maturity. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you can be emotionally immature. Emotion is energy in motion. And when energy stops in you, you stop at that point. You're stagnant unless you do something to get the energy moving again. A lot of people have the personality to be cynical or skeptical over everything. If a new idea is introduced to some people, their natural response is going to be negative. And it's very difficult for those people to explore and to embrace new ideas. Another thing in today's world, we're overwhelmed with information. A lot of the information is inaccurate. And a lot of information that you find on the internet and talking with other people and interacting with their belief systems is not accurate information. So you have to have a way to discern what is true and what is not true, what is reality and what is illusion.
In honor of your time, I will let you go, but I really enjoyed today's conversation. When we can dig below the surface and we can ask different questions of each other and of ourselves, because it is in these moments that we say, wait a second, the world is different than I actually thought it was. And that gives us a chance to go out there and be somebody new and a better version of ourselves.
Thank you for having me today.